Okay, new challenge. I have a sliding door. And they're great, except I'm not too happy with the way that they are secured. Normally you have this little guy right here, right, which just sends this piece of hook into the door jamb here. Now, many sliding doors have a deadbolt-like feature. This one has such a thing right here. Okay, it sends this piece of plastic down into this receiver here, and it keeps the door from being opened. However, if you saw my video on the garage door deadbolt, this has the same problem. It can't be opened from the outside, so it doesn't often get used. So I came up with an idea. This is a HomeKit enabled door deadbolt. Now, the idea that I had was put it right here and have it send the deadbolt piece down into the receiver. I'd probably have to create a new receiver because the bolt size is bigger than that little thing. However, this guy can't send the bolt straight down. It can only send it to side because it's designed for a swinging door. They never considered sending one down. Malapopism time. Let me show you what I did. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I found that I couldn't put the lock in a vertical orientation over the receiver so that the lock deadbolt itself could go downwards. I even took it apart to see if I could move one of the cogs, cause it to skip some teeth inside the mechanism to move the cogs 90 degrees. However, the lock was made so intelligent that it would defeat the lock's ability to tell if it's open or closed. Yes, it can do that. Which is actually one of the reasons why I bought it, because I want to be able to look at it and ask Siri, is the lock locked or not? And she could tell me, yeah, it's locked or not. And if I try to lock the lock when it's already locked, Siri will basically give me the finger, or so on and so forth. So I can't defeat it by moving the cog 90 degrees. So what I was forced to do was create a new door. Well, kinda. Part of a door, okay? So there we go. There's our lock mechanism right there. And pretty standard, pretty straightforward stuff. And yeah, Siri's telling me, she's telling me that it's locking and unlocking, driving myself crazy with this. What I've done is I've taken two pieces of oak and joined them side by side to create the same depth that a real door would have. Why did I do that instead of getting a piece of oak that is the width of a door, instead of just bolting these guys together? Good question. I want to make sure that I'm future-proofed here. This lock has a keypad that's associated with it that actually goes where the key goes, and it all has a keypad. I wanted to give myself the option to potentially open this back up again, do some additional wood carving, and put a socket here that could potentially have a wire that goes to a keypad mounted outside somewhere. I didn't want to lock myself off from that. If I used a single piece of oak here, I would be painting myself into a corner. So what I did was I took these bits of oak, put the locking mechanism in there with the standard jig, all right, and then colored them. I stained them the same stain color as my floor. So even though this is a big piece of oak, it will be bolted to the door itself, but it will still look like it's part of the house. And I have to admit, I think I did a pretty good job of this. I have exactly the right, luster finish here that I did with urethane. Kind of proud of this. So I guess it's time to install this guy. Okay. Okay, and now it's time to test. Lock the back door. Okay. Unlock the back door. Okay, so now I've got a back door that I can guarantee is locked whenever I want. There's also a couple of automatic locking rules I've got with a home automation system, but I'm going to keep those to myself. I don't know if you watched though, there's a funny thing that happened in there during the time lapse. When I was doing the initial install, one of the screws broke in the door. So I was forced to actually take the whole door off and get it out on the sawhorses out and back, which actually happened to be a good thing because it allowed us to clean the tracks and the whole sliding door mechanism itself, because I don't think it's been cleaned in a long time. It was pretty nasty. But now it's all nice and clean, works beautifully, and I have confidence that the back door, sliding door, is dead bolted whenever I need it to. So there you go, malapropism, automatic back door, deadbolt. Well, it works great. Kinda. I'm not so happy with the receiver, which is too bad because I spent some time routing it and making it pretty. In the video, when I'm testing it, when you watch the lock engage, it actually pushes the receiver a little bit. So it's not as solid as I would have liked. It's only got 2 screws holding it to the door frame, and it's not resting on the floor, which would make a very solid foundation. Another thing is that it's possible to have the lock engage on the other side of the receiver, which isn't great. There's no reason for it to engage out there, but if it did, it would keep the door open. Another unfortunate development. And 3, remember that lock has sensors that can detect when it's in the locked or unlocked position. It's also smart enough to know that if it's attempting to lock, automatically, not with the thumb screw, to know when it's successfully locked or successfully unlocked. And when it doesn't successfully lock, it'll freak out and tell me, I can't lock. With the receiver just being this big, it'll lock successfully in the wrong position. So what I've done is I've come up with this. This took me almost as long to make as the locking fake door itself. This is actually 2 pieces of oak that are glued together and used biscuit joiners in here. I've also shaved it thinner than it normally would be with the 2 pieces of oak, as well as routed the channel here so that it can rest on the floor. The reason why I had to do this is because the floor actually has a bit of trim work between the door jamb and the floor itself, so this has to sit over that and then sit on the floor. So what this will do is this will sit on the unmoving side of the door, and the lock will engage outside here. Outside the, there is no receiver basically. This is a big block, and that's why I've tapered this edge here as well in case the lock isn't retracting all the way. Remember, this is a deadbolt for a door, so the doors that this is designed for have about a 1/4 inch of play. So from here all the way back, there's very little play. It's maybe a 1/16 of an inch clearance, which means that if it tries to lock anywhere out of position, if this lock tries to lock anywhere but in the closed proper position, by design it'll freak the lock out, and the lock will say, back door's not locked. I tried, couldn't do it. So let's put this guy in. It's too bad. And now to test. Standard lock. Lock the back door. Okay. And now the freak out test. Lock the back door. Yep, works. So there you have it. Lock's installed, the new block's installed, works beautifully, looks good doing it, and it doesn't get in anybody's way. Nobody's getting locked out, nobody's getting locked in. Perfect. Due to the magic of editing though, what you don't know is it took about 2 weeks for this whole project here. The first week in fabricating the original lock, fake door, plank that goes along the sliding door, and another week to cut, carve, shave, glue, finish, and prepare, pre-drill the new receiving block along the bottom. So adopt, adapt, and improve. Definitely turn into a malapopism in every sense of the word here. Nope, don't like the original receiver. It has problems, so I gotta do another one. Yay. It works. Hope you had a good time. And until the next one.